Welcome to Cord Cutting Today for May 22nd, 2023. This is the show where I break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting right now and give you my opinion on them. Now, this is my opinion. If you want to learn more about these stories, check out the show notes down below and in the first pinned comment. I'll put a link to each story there so you can read about them for yourself and come up with your own opinions. I'll love to hear from you. If you're new here, hey, do me a big favor. Hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, let YouTube know you enjoy what we do here so YouTube recommends our videos to more people, helping us grow, helping us hopefully help you break free from the high cost of cable TV. Just hitting that subscribe button, hitting that thumbs up really is a huge help. We would really appreciate it. So with that said, let's dive into the stories of the day. Starting off with cord cutting is growing at such record numbers, cable TV has dropped to 1992 levels. MoffettNathanson, which is a research group I've talked about here many times, they study both traditional cable TV and the streaming services. They came out with a report that says cord cutting grew by 2.2 million new households in the first quarter of 2023. This is up significantly from the 1.8 million that cut the cord in the first quarter of 2022 versus 2023. Now with this, they say that the number of households percentage-wise in the United States is now down to 58.5%. This number has not been seen since 1992. Now, we've seen other reports that have claimed that cord cutting is actually even bigger, that there may be now more people without cable TV than people who have it. Now, those could be the so-called cord nevers, people who never subscribe to a cable TV service, and cord cutters combined. Now, with that, you think about people like myself. I've never had a home phone, so you could call myself a home phone never. I've always just had a cell phone here, and increasingly that's now the most popular way for people to have their phone services not through there. Cord cutting is growing at a rapid pace. No matter what numbers you look at, no matter what estimates. Is it 58%? Is it 48%? Like somewhere in that range is the number of Americans still with cable TV. What we are seeing here is the vast majority of Americans are increasingly moving away from cable TV, and even if it is still over 50%, I suspect in the next year or two, we'll see it drop below that number. We'll see what all happens. Leave me your comments. Let's say that this number is right. 58% of American households still pay for cable TV. You think this year, next year, or 2025, when do you think more Americans will have canceled cable TV or never had it than currently pay for it? Leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Spectrum Cable CEO is talking big about their fear of the new internet options. Increasingly, there are more and more internet options out there. You got SpaceX, Amazon's launching a home internet service. You have fixed wireless services like Starry. You have 5G home internet services like T-Mobile, Verizon, and even AT&T rolling out one in markets where they don't have fiber. This is putting pressure on traditional cable TV services, and it's starting to sound a lot like what they said back when cord cutting was kind of new. We're not worried about that, is what Charter Cable's CEO, the parent company behind Spectrum, said. They basically said, hey, we think our combination of our own fixed wireless 5G home internet service and our fixed wireless service sets us up nicely not to have to worry about that. But what we did see is T-Mobile successfully had more subscribers in the first quarter of 2023 than AT&T, Spectrum, Comcast, and more, all combined into one added in the fourth quarter of 2022. Clearly, a lot of people are moving to T-Mobile, Verizon. I think price is a big part of that. $50 for T-Mobile. Verizon starts at just $25 if you have a supporting plan. I'll be interested to see what happens here. This sounds a lot like when I first launched Cord Cutters News, and cable executives would get up on stage and say, yeah, cord cutting, we're not worried about that. That's just a few fringe people out there. That's some kids in their parents' basement that don't ever want to grow up and go get a job, whatever it was he said with that. Now, look at what they're saying. I really think the next generation of cord cutting, the so-called cord cutting 2.0, will be the cutting the cord on home internet service from your traditional cable option. There's a growing number of providers out there that are giving internet options. It would not surprise me at all to find out that in the next 10, 15, or the next 5 to 10 years, I should say, the mass majority of people getting internet are not getting it from a cable TV provider. We'll keep an eye on that. Let me know what you think of that. All right, a lot to go over. We're going to kind of race through a bunch of stories here. Amazon Freevee and Amazon Prime teams up with Glory Kickboxing. You'll now be able to watch live kickboxing events with Amazon Freevee and on your Amazon Prime video subscription. Now, a little caveat here, Amazon's very clear. They're saying, hey, it's not Amazon Prime Video, it's Amazon's Prime Video. The service is actually now just called Prime Video, so keep that in mind. The FCC has given SpaceX a big victory over Dish. Now, Dish was fighting to kind of claw back a certain spectrum of service, a spectrum of wireless internet. That kind of frequency, if you think of an AM or FM radio, you know, you got those different frequencies out there, 1300, 1200 kind of range. Well, Dish wanted to use the same basically bandwidth that Starlink was using for their home internet for Dish's 5G service. And the FCC has said, no, Starlink can continue to use that bandwidth for their internet service. Dish, your 5G internet service is going to have to use a different bandwidth. So this means Starlink can continue to offer service, and Dish is going to have to look at new options with it. Of course, Dish may try to appeal this. We'll see. I don't know exactly what kind of options they have. But the FCC has come down in the fight between Dish and Starlink when it comes to bandwidth, and says Starlink can continue to use the bandwidth they're using, and they don't have to give up what they're doing. Dish needs to find other options with it. All right, moving along. Disney Plus and Hulu are removing 50 original series and films. If you want to see the full list, if you want to hurry up and try to watch some of these before they get removed at the end of this month, we have a full list over at corecarsnews.com. I'll put a link to it down below and in the first pinned comment. But Dish is removing, Disney Plus, changing story, I'm on the next story already. Disney Plus and Hulu are removing a ton of ones there with that. So check that out. Lots what's happening with that on it. All right, let me jump here. YouTube TV announces it won't remove old YouTube videos if their accounts are deleted. So Google has announced a deal here that it's going to be going through inactive Google accounts and delete them. This means if you have an old Google account, you may want to go log in so you don't lose that account. If it's been a long time, I'm not sure exactly how long, but we're talking in the years range. Google's going to clear up a bunch of old Gmail accounts and Google accounts that aren't used. Twitter's doing the same, and so are other companies. Basically, what we're having happen here is a lot of people have created multiple accounts and maybe abandoned older accounts, and now 5-10 years later, that username is tied up for an account that's no longer used. They want to make those accounts more available, which makes people more willing to use Gmail and Google things if they can get a username they like, rather than have to be Luke with 80,000 numbers behind it to find one that will actually work for them. The fear here was, though, Google deletes that account. What happens about all these old YouTube videos? What happens if somebody made YouTube videos in the early days? They've since passed away, sadly. And then what happens to those videos? Will they be deleted? Google said, no, we will not remove accounts with old YouTube videos. We're going to keep those safe. So you don't have to worry at all about losing a bunch of YouTube videos with that may have been created with old accounts, or maybe somebody has sadly passed away. Be interesting. This is something that's going to become more and more an issue. The legacy accounts. 20, 30, 50 years from now, how many people are still going to be alive that created early Gmail accounts and got something like luke@gmail.com, for example? If I pass away, should my Gmail account forever be locked to me and no longer be available to anybody else? That's what we're seeing happen with a lot of these accounts here. We'll see what happens in the long run. But just a reminder, if you haven't logged into your old Google or Twitter account, you may want to do it soon, or you may permanently lose access to it if you haven't gone in there in the last few years. Well, that's it for today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. We really do appreciate it. We'll be back again for another video real soon. Until tomorrow, take care, be safe. Have a great Monday, everybody.